The air snapped like a whip, and the night erupted like flashbulb photography, sheeting the mountain in brilliant incandescence. Thunder roared, and electricity slithered all across the granite slope. In the midst of the lightning strike, Joe barely flinched. He glanced over his shoulder, saw Wayne cowered on the ground, and broke into a hard run. Unwilling to risk his luck any further, he changed course and vaulted over the ramp's wall. It was a long free fall to the uneven rock surface below, with a jarring landing on his feet. The impact jetted up through his legs, settling hard between his shoulders, and his weak leg buckled under the shock. Somehow he held his balance, even as footsteps echoed on the suspended concrete above him, a reminder that Wayne was in hot pursuit. Shrugging off the trauma, Joe fled into the sanctuary of thick fog and heavy black clouds without another wasted second. Joe Baker pushed the throttle forward, easing the tractor to a crawl as the row end neared. The back tire froze, pivoting the tractor and aligning the wheel perfectly into the furrow of the previous row. Dropping the plow back into the dirt, he pulled the throttle down to top speed and headed the tractor up another row, leaving a wake of ripped earth, dark and moist. Self-satisfaction betrayed the boy's usual stoic approach to farm work. Such delight was uncommon for Joe, who had negotiated more tractor turns at row ends than he cared to count. Joe checked the back wheel's position against the furrow, adjusted the plow's depth, and relaxed as the tractor lumbered up another row. Just a few more passes, and this field, the largest of 6 on the Baker farm, would be plowed and settled for the winter's rest. The boy looked across the field, which was framed against a ruby sea of late evening sunset, and surveyed his handiwork. Picture-perfect layers of earth lay end over end. The plowed field was a dazzling sight to behold, lying in wait for the springtime seed that would turn fallow land once more into a festival of life. Every year at this time, when the air became crisp, nipped with the approaching winter chill, and the pace of the days relaxed like a sweet flowing melody, the boy became aware of the sacred trust placed in the land. A newly plowed field held promise and radiated beauty. Joe respected the promise. He saw the beauty. But somehow, any real attachment to the land always escaped his grasp. Damn! Summer was on a warpath on this last afternoon of 1962, battling the angst of youth and forced domesticity. New Year's Eve had been uneventful thus far on the Baker place, especially for Summer, who heretofore had washed windows, ironed clothes, vacuumed floors, and presently was polishing furniture in her younger brother's room. It was unfair, the 12-year-old girl had told Joe a moment ago, in his room next door to John and Luke's. "I could just scream," Summer railed. "The men around here never have to lift a finger in this house. Y'all are doing exactly what you want to do today, and I'm stuck cleaning up after you. I'm telling you, it ain't right. Do you hear me, Joe?" she yelled a moment later when he failed to acknowledge her tirade. "It ain't right." The ferocity of the fire stunned Joe, who slowed the tractor only slightly to gauge the raging perimeters of the blaze. His family was stretched along the fence row, with flames licking only a few feet from them. Matt and Sam fought desperately to keep the fire out of a large cedar tree, which was tender enough to burn in a flash, and likely would toss embers onto the nearby house. Already the flames had scorched the roses and other flowers planted along the fence row. Luke, Summer, and Bonnie were waging a losing battle to keep flames from reaching the low branches of the pecan orchard. Realizing the odds were against them, Joe guided the tractor through the pecan orchard, along the fence on the opposite side of the wall of flames. He felt the heat as the tractor raced past the weary firefighters, heard his daddy yelling at the top of his lungs. But Joe refused to heed Matt's frantic warning. At the open fence gate, he braked the right wheel of the tractor and swung the equipment into the field. Revving the engine to full throttle, he lowered the harrow to the ground, shielded his face with an arm, eased off the clutch, and drove straight into the cauldron. Joe had an inkling of the future then, a sense about the way life worked, of freeing yourself from one set of chains in order to be yoked to even tighter bonds. And in a way, the boy was glad just to be sitting at the supper table, belonging to this family, with nothing more than hunger pains to satisfy.